There we go. Lovely. Great stuff. What an action-packed session so far. Well, I finally managed to get both of my rods back in the water. I haven't had a chance to bait up another trace though, as Jamie is now into another fish. I think so far we're on 5 hounds, a bass and a ray. Not too bad, considering this is the least productive time of the tide anyway.
This is the smallest of the day.
Is it a smooth hound?
I don't think so. There's no head bobbing on it. But there is a witness on the water there. It is a hound.
They're getting smaller. Hauled up. Lovely to see though. You know, it is unusual to get hounds of this size on this particular mark, but we're not complaining. It's bites, it's sport. It's great fun, Jamie. Now I've actually set the ratchets on the reels here because I was baiting up a rig, things were getting a little bit hectic and I was away from the rods for a few moments. As I say, it's not something I like to usually do, but on this occasion it's probably a good idea. There seems to be a few fish around today and the last thing you want is to see a rod go over the side. I do stand by what I say though, that lack of resistance can result in dropped fish, and I do like to keep everything tight so that the fish effectively hooks itself. Well, as is often the case in the summer, you do get the sea breeze pick up on the flooding tide, and it's gone a little bit chilly. I think it's time to get the hoodie on. I mean, when we first got here today, it was like a sheet of glass out there, but the sun was really bright, it was hot, you know, the land is warmed up. What happens in these situations in the summer, that warm air rises off the land and it causes a bit of a vacuum effect. It sucks in that cold air off the sea, and that's always even more prominent on the flooding tide. And unless I'm mistaken, that left-hand rod has come up a bit whilst I've been looking at you and the line's moving. Right, that's a fish, let's go. Yeah, we're certainly going slack. Let's see what happens. Now the smooth hound bites, they're not always the most fearsome of bites. And I find that when there's only a few fish around, the bites can be quite delicate actually. Oh, it's certainly starting to go slack anyway. Don't know, that was a funny one. Something definitely happened. And when you get a bit of a sea breeze like this as well, if you get a slackline bite, you know, it is quite obvious. The wind blows on the line, sort of pulls it over to one side. Anyway, let's pop that back down a second. The lead doesn't appear to have moved too much. I'm just gonna put it back in the rest, give it a moment or two and see what happens. I expect the second I've done that, it's gonna go off now. Or maybe not. Well, this is the rod that had the funny bite on earlier. It hasn't come to much, so I think we'll change the bait. There's certainly not a smooth hound on here, but there is a bit of weight there. Well, there was a bit of weight there. No, best part of nothing at all on this one. Well, we've got a couple of spare rigs baited up now. I've just added a bit of crab onto this prawn. I think the key now is to try and keep things a little bit more streamlined. The wind has picked up, so casting into the wind with a big bulky bait, it's not really going to go very far, but I'd say that's about perfect. Well, we've just weighed Jamie's heaviest fish of the day so far. She's been resting up in a rock pool. 15 pound 8 ounces in the sling. That's an absolute corker of a smooth hound. Obviously by the time we deduct the weight of the sling, it's probably going to be around sort of 14 and a half, 14 and 3/4, but whatever, cracking fish, double figure smooth hound, what's not to like? What do you reckon, Jamie?
Yeah, lovely, can't argue with it.
Great fight, wasn't it?
Still got time for another one.
Absolutely. Right, we're going to get him back in the water and get some more baits out there. Well, the tide really is hammering through it at the moment. It's not a massive tide, but with that wind behind it, it's certainly got some pace. I've still got a 6-ounce lead on there, but I have walked right up tide away from where I'm fishing, so we should still hold bottom okay. Now I reckon, stood out on here, I could easily get splashed by a wave, so you could have a little bit of bonus entertainment. If I cracked off at the same time, that would be even more fun for you. Hopefully it doesn't come to that though. And when you've got a wind sort of running left to right like this, any kind of strong wind, it's always good to try and cast as low as possible and kind of cut through the wind, if you like. And you can often get away with doing that and not putting a heavier lead on. Right, let's get back to the stand. Well, I think this is only the second time today I've actually sat down. It's been quite a busy session, I've got to say. But I was expecting a few more bites on the flood. Since the tide turned, it's gone a bit quiet. And we did have lots of bites on the ebb, and you know, usually you'd expect to see those fish coming through on the flood as well. But it is quiet, it does happen sometimes. You know, I think with a lot of venues, you can have your preferred state of tide when the fish come through, but the fish don't always read the rule book, and you know, it can go the other way. So I'm just hoping that before we get pushed off of this reef today, we do get a couple more bites at least. So going back to what I was discussing earlier, the fact that a loop on the end of a dongle is no good on a solo clip. Well, you can see I have actually got a couple made up with just the loop on the end. Now the breakaway imp, it'll release that loop every time. I'll just give you a quick example. There you go, off it comes. With the solo clip, the loop has a tendency to get stuck, so you do need something solid in there, like a cut down clip or even a dummy hook. But they both work perfectly well, it's whatever you're happy with. Well, I've just had a lovely slackline bite. The tip pulled over and then it came up, and I'm not sure if the fish is still there, but it was certainly an aggressive bite. Just going to wait for an indication. It was a very confident bite. Is she still there? Yeah, she is. It's very unusual to not, you know, when a smooth hound comes along, they're usually on the bait straight away. And we've got one on here, I believe. They really like him running in today. And, you know, these fish, they get in the tide and they just run down with it. Now obviously I'm back from the main ledge that we started off on, so I'm going to get wet now, it's an absolute given. So usually with a better smooth hound, you can be winding like this as they come towards you, and then all of a sudden they'll stop and they'll turn around. And if you're not expecting it, it can be quite an experience. So the line's tightening up. Is this fish about to stop? I'm just going to shuffle forward over these gullies, try and get as close to the action as I can. She's running in, still running in. Pretty soon she's going to stop, I reckon. There she goes. There we go, so I'm out on the front edge. This feels like a good fish actually. And am I going to get wet? I'm bound to get wet. There she goes again. Little bit of clutch, just a little bit. I'm sure that hook hold is absolutely fine, but you never know how well hooked your fish is. It is unusual to drop a smooth hound, but it does happen. But I mean, you've seen how, well, here, that was a good one. You've seen how well hooked these fish have been today. Right, I'm hoping we can actually use this bit of splashy water to our advantage and get her to beach herself up on the reef. Whee! God, they really go, these fish. Absolutely powerhouse machines, and I am soaked. Look at that rod. Look at that fish go. And I don't think she's absolutely massive, but I tell you what, you wouldn't want to be doing this in the winter, would you? But I'm not wearing chest waders out in the summer either. Come on, fishy. Look at that power though. They absolutely tank it, these fish, and I'm getting soaked. I think the easiest thing to do here is grab the leader and try and beach her. There we go. Next one. Oh, no, she's off again. No. Yeah. Right, I've got the leader, I've got the fish. Next wave, and I'm lifting her out of the water on the hook. All right, here she comes. Hey! There we go. That's not a bad fish, that's another double, and there goes the hook. I'm not going to bother weighing her, but that's a good 13-pound fish, I would have said. Absolutely full of beans. You know, these fish, they cause chaos when they come along. They kick, they scream, well, they certainly grunt, but look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Great stuff, what a day. Well, Jamie's just had a nice bite and he's just wound in a ray. He's just lifted it out on the tip. It's not a huge fish, but still, it is a ray. Well done, mate, nicely done. Now, just as a side note, obviously you saw me getting very wet there. The water was very splashy. It probably looked quite dramatic. Now, this is a venue that I've fished a lot in the past. I'm very familiar with it. The water splashing up against the side of the rocks, you know, I was in no immediate danger. But if you're in any doubt, don't go near the edge. If you're fishing somewhere you're not familiar with, stay well back. And if it's too dangerous, don't take any risks. Well, I think Jamie's landed on a ray nest here. There's another one on the dongle rig. There you go. Circle hook.
Slightly bigger.
Corner of the mouth, slightly bigger one. But you do catch lots of these here in the summer. Small male thornback ray. And is this hook just going to pop out? Yes, it is. There you go, mate. There's your fish if you want to pop him back. What a brilliant day. Well, I'm absolutely soaking wet through, and I got another smooth hound on. Another fish that's really motoring. There she was. Got her turns now. Such good fun though, the summer smooth hound fishing. If you do get into the fish, they're absolutely brilliant. Oh, this fish is really running in towards me now. And now she's running away from me. Now I've got to watch Jamie's lines because it's gone down tide a fair bit. So this could get messy. If I try and get her in reasonably quick when she lets me. She's running back up this way. I might get lucky actually and just be able to bounce her over the top of the reef on a wave. Right, there's the first reef. Here she comes. There we go, I think she's over the first one. You can see her running about out there. Yeah, we're going to get lucky here because she's come across right where the ledges have been covered by water, pretty much. Come on. It's another nice fish. There she is. A little bit of a helping hand from the swell there. God, they're so scrappy, these smoothhounds, they really are. And it's nice to be able to actually land one without too much drama. There we go. I should be able to just grab that now if I don't get knocked out by the lead. Brilliant. Another double figure smoothhound. On the dongle in the bottom lip this time. Fantastic. They've got so much fight in them though, even when you get them on dry deck, they're still thrashing around. That's probably, I don't know if that's a double actually, but it's not far off, who cares. What a tremendous fight, really enjoyed that. Fantastic, loads of fun. What more could you ask for? Right, let's get this one back. But thanks for watching, I hope you've enjoyed it. Check out the description of the video for all the links of the tackle I've used today, and I'll catch you again. Whew.